Good morning, my fellow subscribers. It's long time that I posted a video of mine. Forgive me, it's one of those things. I'm on the journey of cybersecurity and I'm teaching a couple of people online. So please forgive me, but all the same, we have to. I have with me on the screen that is configuring zone-based firewall. Zone-based firewall, as sometimes we call it ZFS. ZFS, zone-based firewall. So okay, let us try our best to learn something small about the ZFS. Okay, I have with me on the screen, which we are about to learn something small, so that at least you can stand on it to configure our zone-based firewall. Okay, so let's learn a theoretical aspect of it. It said zone-based firewall is an advanced method of stateful firewall. In stateful firewall, an entry containing source IP, so we have a source IP, that is the internet protocol address. Then you have destination IP address, then the source port number, then you have destination port number. So all is about firewall, and it's telling us that it's maintained for a traffic generated by the trusted into bracket private network in the stateful database. So let's put it across and let's say start something. If you are working with a corporate network and you don't want vital documents to go to untrusted people, you need a zone-based firewall configuration. It's going to help you so that at least you will know how to check data ICMP passing from one machine to another. And it's a security policies that you are going to create to manage your data moving from one place to another. This will allow the traffic, including the replies from the private trusted network using the stateful database. What are some of the policies and the things that you're supposed to depend on when it comes in place of you to create the zone-based firewall? It said a zone is assigned to an interface. You have to create a policy, and after creating the policy, you must put the policy that you have already created on an interface so that the interface will listen to the policy that you earlier on create. By default, the traffic from one zone to another is not allowed if only you haven't created the policy that can work with that particular interface. So in a security zone, those that they are authenticated are those that will be allowed to enter into the unauthoritative area. So we are going to create our routers in such a way that which packet a particular router will allow to pass through, or which one of those packets it won't allow. It said by default, a traffic from one zone to another is not allowed. Create class map. So we'll be creating what we call the class map. A class map is an intent of creating a particular class, that is a sign of class that can help you to do something. A specific what class that can help you is good. After creating the zone, a class map policy is made which will identify the type of traffic like ICMP, Internet Connection Management Protocol, or Internet Communication Management Protocol. on which the policies will be applied. The first thing that you have to do is to create policy map and assign class map to the policy app. After identifying the type of a traffic in class map, we have to identify what action must be taken on the traffic. The action can be inspect. So after you are already done creating the policy and assigning the policy to a particular interface, what you have to do is that you must inspect what you have created. He said it is a same in inspection of the CBAC, that is, only that traffic will be allowed. Only that traffic will be allowed from the outside network, which will be inspected. Return traffic of inside trusted what? Network. So in a cybersecurity base also, the ZFS is very important. Which packet will be allowed and which packet will not be allowed to enter into your network. Because you know that cyber criminals sometimes use some malicious codes and malicious softwares backdoor to get into your network. Then after that, ransomware will take over and everything, something that you have tried for many years, you end up what? Demanding for a ransom amount, which you don't have. So it's good for us to protect our network. It's very good. It said drop. This is the default action for all traffic. The class map configured in the policy can be configured to drop unwanted what? Traffic. Unwanted traffic. So if you have configured a ZFS on a particular router, when a particular packet is coming and that packet has the packet we don't believe the packet, what if the system don't believe the packet, what the system will do is that the system will drop that packet, which means I will terminate it. So we have drop and pass. This will allow the traffic from one zone to another. Unlike inspect action, it will not create a session state for the traffic, but rather it will let that particular packet pass to an appropriate work port. If we want to allow traffic from that is opposite direction, corresponding policies should be what? Created. That's all. So for us to know what the zone-based policies are policies that we have to create both for trusted what? Data to enter into internal and external. But basically, data coming from external into what? External. So we are going to use the packet tracer at least to demonstrate this so that, but when you look at what I've done right now, the background or the scenario of what we're about to do is that you've been called to create what? A ZFS. And a ZFS in a Cisco Firewall technologies, we are going to use Cisco packets to do the ZFS. ZFS, let me put it in this way. The BFR3 will be our edge router. That will allow internal host access to external resources and block the external host from accessing the internal resources. So it means that I can put my cloud here. I have to put my cloud here. Then after putting my cloud and adding a serial to it, because we intend to make BFR3 as an award. So this place is going to be our internal. This place is going to be internal. And this place is going to be external. So we have internal and we have external. And for the purpose for us to do the ZFS is that, ZPF is that we are going to create a ZPF on the edge router. And the edge router is a router that associates straight to the internet, that links your corporate network to the internet. So we said we should choose what? BFR3. Okay. Then we will end up blocking the external host from accessing internal resources. Internal resources can be this place. So let me just circle it so that at least we can also know what we are trying our best to do. So let me put it this way, and let me just say internal resources. So internal resources is this place. So we don't want to allow the external uh, host PCs, machines to have access, but there must be a specific spot host that can have access. That is going to help all of us. Then again, you would then verify firewall functionality from internal and external hosts. So there are some key benefits and also key priorities that you have to take them. We have to create a console password. We have to also create a VTY line. We have to also enable a secret on the LAN console. We have to also create a host name and IP addressing. Then we have to also create local users and password. Then, then after that, we create the static routing. This is what we are about to do, and it will help all of us. So the first thing that we have to do is to add our laptop. Let me add a laptop to it so that we can stand on those machines to configure our routers. So this is a console. Let me add another laptop here, another laptop here, there, connect the console. Okay, so I'm going to configure first thing first. The first thing we are going to configure is that we are going to configure what we call the SSH. We are going to configure what we call the SSH so that we can verify the basic network connectivity. That it can help us to configure or to connect to it. That is the first priority you must try your best to do first before this. So let's go ahead and assign an IP address to the various machines. Let's use an IP address of 192.168. That is for this the yellow side. Then the green side, let me put another side. Let me put green side also here. Let me put a green side here. So this place is going to take at least. Okay, so I'll be configuring the network right now so that at least, so let me just start with this one. It's 3.100. One nine two dot one six eight dot three dot hundred. 192.168.3.1. The one is for the router. Let me give it to Francis. 192.168.3.3. 192.168.3.1. So we are done configuring this one. I'm going to start from the BFR3. That is where I'm going to start from. I'm going to start from the BFR3. So let me shift this one to this side small. Then let me enter inside the router 3. That is a BFR3. The same router, I'm going to configure my zone base on it. Okay, choose no. Then you type VN. So config T, and the host name is going to be FR3. That is all. Then we have the line console. Let's configure the line console 0. So we have password That is my password. You can change it yourself. You can change it. Login. Then exec timeout so that at least if the router will not sign out without me attending to it. Let me type exit. Then enable enable secret. Okay, so we are done using it. Now it's time for us to create our. We have to create the first thing that we have to create. We have to create the local user name and a password. The local username and a password. So let's do that. Okay, so the user name, we type the username, bring the shift and the question tag, and set a word. So the word means the user name. So we are going to choose the BF admin one. Then shift and the question tag again. It asks you about the password. You can either choose, let me just expand it. We have password, we have secret, and when you choose secret, because everything that we are doing is a secret. So shift and the question tag, then you just type your password. Specify an unencrypted secret will follow. Okay, so let's type the password. That's all. After you are done with this one, you have to now create, because we are setting our router 3 down purposely for the ZPF. That is the zone-based policy firewall. We are setting it down. So let's create a IP domain name. Let me give a bigfirm.com. Please, when you are giving a domain name, don't give your private domain name, because you are working with a company. So make sure that if the company you are working with, they don't have domain, you are in a good position to create one for them. As time goes on, they register the domain, because now we are in the technological world. Digital devices are connecting, and people sometimes do business on the internet. So why don't you convince the company? There are some companies that will tell you that no, we don't like the internet. Asking them the reasons, there is no concrete reasons they will give it to you. But you have to try your best and make sure that you create it for them. Okay. Okay, so as we are dealing with the locally, logging inside the system, then logging into the line console, then just make sure that you log in synchronous. Then after that, log in local. Just type exit and come out from it. And let's create our crypto key, generates RSA, enter 1024, we create it. After you are done, go straight to line VTY, then 0 to 4. Then shift and the question tag, you will see transport. Shift and the question tag, you will see input. Shift and the question tag, you will see SSH. Just enter. So as you are done like this one, it means that a TCP IP SSH protocol, you've given it. So we have to just assign it to an interface. Okay, just assign it to an interface. So the interface we are going to assign it to is the interface that we have, as we call it, what GID 0 slash what 0. Okay, so GID 0 slash 0. So let me enter int GID 0 slash 0 slash 0. Oh, sorry, I supposed to put 0 here, 0 slash 0. So the IP address, you type 192.168.3.1, 255.255.255.0. You enter the no shut down. You see that the line now is forwarding at the same time is listening. So when the router listening to the MAC address and IP address of the opponent network IP address, the only thing that you have to do is that you create a table for what you have done so far. So it's just forwarding it at the same time. It's listening to the switch that is creating the table for the MAC address of the pieces. So let's wait for this orange light to be green. Now it's green. So let's turn on this PC. Let's turn on this PC. That is Kofi's PC, and ping the IP address of 1, that is 3.1. Let's ping and see. So 192.168.3.1. Okay, so we have a packet going through. That is responding. Packet is responding. Let's go back to the router. Okay, type the shifts and the question tag. You see IP. Type IP, shift and a question tag. You see that we have address group, we have OSPF, we have access group, we have address authentication fellow, then you have hello interval helper address. I'll teach you helper address, then MTU, NAT, OSPF, proxy ARP, then a split horizon, then a summary. Okay, I just went and did something small so that at least we can do that. Look at it very well. I just did something small that you can try your hands on. Okay. So the line console, see that we have a transport input SSH, then SSH version IP SSH version 2, which we're supposed to choose. Then we check the shift and the question tag so that we have a transport over here. We did a transport already. And we type the input. We have already chosen the input. That is why it's showing the output over here. So IP space. And when you type the IP space, look at it very carefully. You can see that we have here SSH. Check. You see that we have SSH also here. So SSH, shift and the question tag. We have authentication. Actually, that's authentication try 3 times. We have to also type the SSH timeout. At least the timeout, that specify SSH timeout interval. Maybe if you are not attending to, let's take it 30 seconds. Then SSH version, we will choose 2. So it means that we are done with our SSH. So let's try the save, copy, run, startup, run. So we are done with everything that we tried our hands on. We are done with it. That is for the by the way, the SSH. Okay, so we have to test to see what we have done, whether it's working or not. So let's use Francis to test and see what we have done, which is this one. Let's use Francis to test and see. So Francis, the command line, you type the SSH L, then BF admin1, 192.168.3.1, type the password. So we have okay, so at least you can look on this one and configure it. Then you can try your hands on it and it will help you. So let's see whether the top one, let's configure the BFR2. Let's configure BFR2. BFR2, the INTSE. But for the meantime, let me just configure the console first. Enable secrets. Okay, so INT serial. I want to configure this side, which is SE0/1/1. IP address 10.2.2.1, 255.255.255.252. This is /30. Okay, so let's go back and also configure this side, this particular one. Let's configure this one. Then let's see whether we can get access to this one through this particular PC. So let me just connect 1 giga to this one and see. We'll do that one later on and we'll see what we can do. Okay, so let's configure this one. Okay, so INT, I'm going to configure this particular side, which is 10 here. Is going to bear this one. Fine, so let's configure the SE0/1/0. So SE0/1/0. Let's configure the IP address 10.2.2.2.1, 255.255.255.252. So let's see. Okay, so the line is up. The line is up. Fine. Now remain this side that we have to configure. Remain this side. So let's configure it right now. Let me come out from the other serial and I'm about to enter inside SE0/1/0, which is 10.1.1.1. If this one is 2, let's make this one as 1, and let's make this one as 2. Okay, so let's configure that one. So int se 0/1/0. So IP address 10.1.1.2, 255.255.255.252. So that one to low shot. Then let's go to router BFR1. Let's configure BFR1 side. BFR1. And config so no IP domain name. Then let's type the host name BFR1, the line console 0, password, password, 1, 2, login, exact timeout is 0. So let's now try our best to configure the serial. So I'm going to start. I'll configure two network cards here. That is a GID 0/0. That goes with 192.168.3.1. Then SE 0/1/1. That goes with 10.1.1.1. Okay, so let me deal with the GID 0/0 first. So IP address 192.168.3. That one, this place rather, let me just correct something here. The whole of this place supposed to be, because we have 3 here, this place is supposed to be 1. Let me change everything here. 1. Let's put it, okay, let's make it 10. Let's make it 1. Let's make it 1. Okay, so it's 1.1, 255.255.255.0. No shut. Okay, so let's come out and enter inside the serial. Enter inside the serial. 0/1/0. I'm entering inside this one. That links to this. So IP address 10.1.1.1, 255.255.255.252. No shut. Okay, so now the line are now transmitting. The line are now transmitting there. Okay, so remaining the OSPF that we have to configure. But let me just give an IP address to there. yellow side, which is the internal resources. One nine two dot one six eight dot one dot two zero one, 192.168.1.1, 192.168.1.201. Okay, so at least we've given it to remain. Let's do this one as the Razor PC. Let's give an IP address to it. .201 because of the DNS. That one is not 10, but it's rather 20. It's 1. .201. Okay. So since we are done, at least we'll try it and see whether we can ping the router. 192.168.1.1. Okay, so the router is responding. At the moment, the yellow side, they are responding, but they can't go beyond the 10.1.1. So let's see whether it can ping 10.1.1. Okay, that one, but it can ping 10.1.2, which is this side of BFR2. See, it's delaying. So it's time for us now to configure the OSPF. Okay, a reason is a request timeout. So let's close it and let's start first from, we are going to start from the R3 because that is our gateway to the internet. That's why I've put the cloud over here. So let's configure our OSPF. So the router, OSPF, let's choose 100. The router ID is 3.3.3.3. So the network is going to be 192.168.3.0, 255.255.255.0. So we will choose the area 0. Then we have another network that we have to do, which is 10.2.2.2, 0, 255.255.255.252. So we have the area which is what also 0. So we are done configuring the two areas, which is 192.168.3.1, then 10.2.2.0 with a slash of what? 30. That is the subnet max of what? 30 classless. So let's go to the top one also, which is the BFR2 and configure the OSPF on it. So the router OSPF, I will choose the anonymous number, which is 100. So I'll type the router ID, which is 2.2.2.2, enter. Then net 10.2.2.0, 255.255.255.252. Then we choose area what? 0. Okay, so we've gotten adjacency. We can also do the same thing by choosing the one side. So it means that we have network of 10.2.2.0, then we can have network of 10.1.1. So enter. We are done with this one. Let's go to router BFR1 and let's check that one also. So OSPF, anonymous number is 100. So we have the router ID 1.1.1.1. Enter. So network is going to be, let me choose this particular one. This is the one I'm going to choose. So 10.1.1.0, 255.255.255.252. Then we choose the area, which is 0. Moreover, you can see that there is no adjacency because of in between the IP address that the first one, which is the BFR2, we configured. So remaining the internal resources, which is the LAN. So let's see what the LAN has for us. So the network 192.168.1.0, that's what we are dealing with now. 255.255.255.0 area, we choose that one also. So it means that there is adjacency of everything that we have done. Okay. So just write copy, run startup. Fine. Let's see the connection. Whether we have 192.168.3.3 on this one. Let's check. Okay, so let's copy this one and check whether we can, Teresa can ping. Let's see. It seems the pinging is not going through. Let's see. I want Francis to ping the two network of router, that is BFR2 and BFR3. Let me see whether they can ping. So 2.2.2, it seems it cannot ping. Okay, let me see the router IP address that I've given. That's 10.2.2.1. Okay, let me see the top one also. You see the mistake? Instead of 0/1/1, I'm supposed to give 222. But I gave 221, whilst this one also is 221. So there is a conflict of what? You see? Or it's 221. So I have to change. That is, I make it 222. So let's change it. Let us change. But yours will go through all right. So let me enter inside SE. So INT SE 0/1/1. So I'll type no IP address. Yes, no IP address. Then IP address, I'll type 10.2.2.2 255.55 55252. I've typed more than expected. Let me remove one. Okay. Though the port is open, but let's see. Let me put this thing on it. So now it's 2.2. Yeah. So we have 1.1.2 here, then 2.2 here. So let's see. So 1.2, 2.2. Fine. Let's see whether Francis can ping that one earlier on. Using, so it means that it's going on. Then it means that let's see whether this particular one. Okay, let's see whether Francis can also ping 1.1.2. It's pinging. It's pinging. Let's go as far as the server over there. Okay. So let's see the ping. Listen, it's pinging. So is the network IP address that I gave, which is the same IP address that caused the problem. So whilst your ACL, that is a OSP, is working, now it's time for us to configure the ZPF. So that this will be the part one of it. Now we are going to configure the ZPF. So I'll see you in the next video.